All right, and welcome back to another episode of 10 Minutes of Chicago Bears Talk. As promised, we are going to kind of start talking about the Bears' schedule, breaking down each week, and kind of talking about each game, some of the ins and outs, the player matchups, stuff like that. Um, we're going to try and fit this all in the 10 minutes, but this might be a little longer, so we'll just have to see. But being the first episode, we're obviously going to start with week one. I did say that we were going to kind of skip over the preseason games. Those aren't really going to matter at the grand scheme. And obviously, this is just a preliminary evaluation once the depth charts are figured out and once everything's finalized and all that stuff, signings and trades and whatnot that may still happen, then we can kind of go back the week of each game and kind of talk about them more. But being that it's the first episode, we're going to start with week one, which is against the Vikings, and that is the Monday night game. So Bears start the year Monday night, and just kind of looking at this Bears team, there's a couple things that stand out. First off, this team looks very good on paper. I'll just kind of read through some of their main guys. So McCarthy, quarterback, Aaron Jones running back, and then your wide receivers, you got Jefferson, Addison, Naylor. They also got Rondell Moore. I didn't know they had him, but yeah. T.J. Hawkinson at tight end, C.J. Ham at fullback, and then Darashaw, Donovan Jackson, Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, and Brian O'Neill make up that starting offensive line. On defense. Left end, Jonathan Allen. Nose tackles, Harrison Phillips, should I say. Um, right end is Javon Hargrave. Uh, their wide linebacker is Jonathan Greenard. Their left inside linebackers, Ivan Pace. Right inside linebackers, Brian Cashman. Their other linebacker, their sub linebacker, should I say, is Andrew Van Ginkel, and then corners Isaiah Rogers and Mekhi Becton, and then they also have Byron Murphy Jr., and then tight safeties are Harrison Smith and Josh Metellus. So, looking at this team, realistically, they have a good team on paper. Um, but I will say that in terms of wide receiver, I wouldn't say Jalen Naylor is the greatest. And I would say that Jordan Addison has some flaws. He's still a very good player. I'm not going to say anything really that down about him, but that could definitely, definitely think that, once you have Justin, I think Justin Jefferson makes those guys better than what I think they are. I'm not saying that, again, not saying that Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor are bad players, but I wouldn't consider them good for their place on the depth chart. But realistically, you got JJ McCarthy, who, of course, is technically coming into his first year as he didn't play a single regular season snap last year. And that'll be interesting to just kind of see him and see how he plays, especially on a Monday night debut game, which I believe the Bears have at home. I'm like 95% sure it's at home, and it is, yep. Um, and so that's a very interesting environment to kind of start out have your first true NFL action. I don't actually even know if JJ McCarthy played in the preseason, so this might actually be his first. Anyways, you got Aaron Jones, who's a good running back. Got T.J. Hawkinson, a good tight end. Um, this offensive line looks pretty good. Um, I will say that Donovan Jackson and Will Fries and then Ryan Kelly definitely could get exposed by Javon Dexter and our edge guys, especially Donovan Jackson, who I believe is a rookie this year. First round pick, but yeah, still a rookie. So, uh, um, totally possible that the Bears could try and use him as a way to get through this line. And then Brian O'Neill, I think, is another guy that you could probably try and get through. Um, he's pretty good. I wouldn't say that he's a bad player, but I think that that's another place that I really think the Bears could do some with. And then Christian Darrisaw, if he can stay healthy, is another guy that definitely could be a another guy just kind of look at. Just because also when you think about it, I mean Darrishaw's coming off a knee injury that took him out the rest of the year. Um, so, you got some players there that you could definitely expose coming week one because there's no guarantee Derek Shaw's going to be healthy. And that's Donovan Jackson's uh, probably first snaps maybe against the first team. He might get some against the in the preseason, but realistically, that's going to be a good first test for the Bears and their D line to kind of try and expose the left side of that line with Darius Shaw and Donovan Jackson, and then Brian O'Neill on that right side. Will Fries and Ryan Kelly, I think, are pretty good. Going to be a little harder, but I think that the Bears could do something with that. On the other side of the ball, they got Jonathan Allen, and then Javon Hargrave and Harrison Phillips. Both guys that I think you definitely can. They're not the greatest, but I think that all three of those guys that I just mentioned are gonna be they have the capability to get to your quarterback. They have the capability to run stop. Um, and so I think that's just one thing that the Bears are gonna have to work on. This is gonna be a great first test with those guys rushing to kind of see what the Bears can kind of pull out with their offensive line, especially in terms of just what are they going to look like? How are they going to be able to kind of perform this year? And then when you think of Jonathan Greenard, Ivan Pace, Blake Cashman, and Van Ginkel, um, and then I forgot they actually have Dallas Turner as well. Dallas Turner is probably going to be another edge guy. I don't know about Van Ginkel. Van Ginkel might. Trying to think. I could see Van Ginkel probably. Yeah, Van Ginkel's probably going to get some rushing. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see, especially with Dallas Turner trying to come in as well and get some sacks and get some play time. Just kind of looking at what he did last year. He had 20 total tackles. Trying to look at how many games he played. Looks like for the most part he played almost every game. So definitely going to be another guy that can uh, come in and he can disrupt you. But I think Van Ginkel's the main guy that you're going to want to look at to try and mediate, especially on that line. Then of course you got Jonathan Allen, who, like I said, they signed from the Commanders, and then you got Harrison Phillips, who's just been in the league for a while now. Um, Feels like it at least. I believe this is his seventh year. He's another guy that can be a disruptor. Javon Hargrave, who I believe came from the 49ers, and he might have also played for the Eagles. Um, like I said, another guy that can do something. It's going to be very interesting to see. Um, you got Ivan Pace. He's going to be all over the field, like I said. Um, and then Jonathan Greenard had 12 sacks last year, which is actually a lot more than I thought. So they got some good guys rushing the quarterback. Like I said, I just mentioned five guys right there, 5, 6 guys that can get to you at the quarterback position or get at your quarterback. And then you add in Dallas Turner, like I said, and some other guys. This is a good offense. This is a good defensive line. Where I really think that they can get exposed is these corners. Isaiah Rogers is decent, decent corner. I mean, obviously he started. Um, Obviously he started and he played played with the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't believe he was a starter though for them. But he's going to be a starter. It looks like for this Vikings team so far. So I think that you put Rome or even you put DJ Moore on that side, I think that you're going to be able to get a lot of stuff open against him. Um, and then you got Blackman, who I think is another guy that you can probably uh, expose a little bit. Third year player. But I think that this is again where I think you're going to see a lot. And then you got Byron Murphy Jr., who Byron Murphy Jr. was very good last year. Um, but if he's lining up in a slot like I expect him to, he could definitely be um, a guy that could be you could kind of just try and take him out of the play at that point. And I think another guy you're going to want to try and take out of the play is Harrison Smith, who just continues to perform at a high level. I think that Harrison Smith just continues to be that guy. 87 tackles last year, 3 interceptions. He plays very well. So that's gonna be another guy that I really think the Bears are gonna want to try and get out of the play. A guy that they might be able to do some against on the other end is Josh Metellus. Josh Metellus had 103 tackles last year. Um, but I thought that he was another guy that really you could probably do some with. So This is probably going to look like a game where the Bears are kind of going to need to take a couple guys out of the play, those being Justin Jefferson, and then defensively, I would say it's Byron Murphy and Harrison Smith. I think those are the guys you're going to want to take out of the play, out of each play. But realistically, I mean, if you can stop Justin Jefferson, you can stop this offense pretty well. And on defense, if you can just get the ball out quickly and not let those pass rushers get to you, I think that's that you're really going to need to do to win this game. So for the Bears, I think that coming week one, I think the Bears have a huge advantage because I don't think anybody really knows what Ben Johnson's going to do week one. I think that Ben Johnson has a lot that he could do, a lot of ideas that he's probably going to come up with, and to me, you're basic. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a heavy run game, just to kind of not let Caleb get hit a ton, especially with all those pass rushers. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a heavy run game, but then I'm expecting a lot of quick throws and just kind of get guys in open space. Especially with Caleb, still probably trying to work on that deep ball. I think you're going to see a lot of just quick throws, not necessarily the screen passes, but just get it out quickly. DJ Moore, as everybody's seen, can continue to break tackles. He's one of the best in the world at breaking tackles. So I think that's another thing that you'll definitely see is he can just continue to break those tackles, continue to make those plays. That's going to be something big that you're going to see from um, this defense this defense to make plays. I think that they can definitely do that. And then this offense, just to kind of get in a rhythm and really just kind of continue to do what they do and build off of last year, which I think that they can absolutely do. So, realistically, where do I think this one goes? I think that it's pretty much just going to be a heavy run game where you're trying to just continue to pound that ball, especially because, like I mentioned, the Bears have three running backs now that people are talking about. And I think that having all of those receiving weapons is great, but I think that come week one, it might even be a decoy. So then I think the other thing is just you're going to want to try and rattle JJ McCarthy. This is his first regular season action. You're going to try and rattle him. And realistically, I think that's what we'll see from the Bears is just a lot of. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of blitzes, and then on offense, it's going to be a lot of just getting the ball out, getting it to your playmakers um, in open space, or just try and continuously, methodically move the ball down the field. I don't think that's necessarily a wrong answer either. The one thing I don't think is I don't think that we're going to see like a very exciting first week of offense from either team. I wouldn't. I don't think the Vikings are going to be having an exciting offense. They tend not to. Last year, I wouldn't really say they did. And I don't think the Bears are going to either because I think that this is Ben Johnson's way of trying to still keep you guessing. I don't think Ben Johnson wants anybody to be able to know what the game plan is or what plays to call or what things are going to look like. I think it might switch up from week to week. So with this first game, I think it'll be a very interesting game. This is the hardest one to probably predict. All these are probably hard to predict right now because we have no idea what this team's going to look like. But right now, I think that this is a game where you're just going to try and methodically move the ball, do a lot of run plays, and then get those quick passes and try and rattle JJ McCarthy. That's about all that I really see that from this game. So all in all, that's going to be it for this episode. Just kind of walking through this first game, and well, we have 16 more games to go. So we will continue on with those.